Good morning. That feels weird to say at the start of a show. Welcome to the Fallout Bar. Myself, Jack Garwood, and joined by the wonderful Mr. Phil Bars, live from his hotel room in Leicester. Thank you for joining us early this morning, Phil. I think we made the right decision after the finish time last night of night 2 of the World Grand Prix.
Look, absolutely. Look, I just don't get it. Is the thing that arguably the tie of the round going on at quarter to midnight, whatever it was, I just don't get it. Last year, I'm sure we started at 6 for these opening ties, and that extra hour is huge. And look, you guys that support us are fantastic, and asking you to do a full out at quarter to 1 in the morning, it just wasn't happening.
Well, we didn't finish till quarter to 1 the night before, so to start one at that time would have been just ridiculous. And I guess that this gives us a little bit of a chance to look back at it. Some people will have fallen asleep. So the back end of the show, when we talk about the last couple of games and then start looking ahead to tonight now, hopefully it gives people the chance to catch up a little bit. They can go and catch up with some highlights if the PDC put them out as well. But there is a lot of debate around the timing and scheduling of this event, especially in the first 2 rounds. I wouldn't be against. I appreciate that it's difficult to get a crowd there, but an extra 2 days would give you the weekend to start with as well, which just launches your tournament that little bit better. Play best of 5 sets like you get in round 2, so the players get a little bit more time to settle. Your standard goes up, and then you can play 4 games a night instead of 8. It just makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. It's just
because that extra hour before, on a Monday or Tuesday night, you're still struggling to get people there after work.
Yeah, it's just too crammed.
Yeah, and I think let's not be too hasty in this as well. I did see plenty of comments floating around saying that this doesn't happen in Dublin. It does, and it does happen at the City West. Yeah. And there are some nights when it's even worse at the City West because the fact that the City West is not in Dublin. It's 40 minutes outside of Dublin.
100%. This isn't just a Leicester thing. This is just a World Grand Prix thing.
Yeah, definitely. Right, let's look back at the action and 8 matches for us to talk about. I'll be honest, in comparison to night 1, night 2 was a little bit flat in terms of standard, and perhaps it wasn't given the best platform. Matters Razma beating Ryan Searle 2-1 to open. Very, very scrappy game. Searle averaging 80 as the high point of the match, but just 4 from 22 on the outer ring for him is the killer as Matters Razma takes this one 2-1 in sets.
Yeah, look, I was expecting more, if I'm being honest, especially from Ryan Searle. That first set that he lost, I think he was averaging 64 or something along those lines. I was expecting a little bit more from him, and look, both of them in that final set, the composure went completely, and Razma did enough to get over the line, but on that performance, I don't see him going much further.
Look, in terms of a player, I think Razma is one of the most comfortable travelling around the board. He's very, very adept with that, but I also think that means that, much like his scoring phase, he favours double 18 to start a little bit. But if it goes wrong, I think he's that quick to just jump around that he never really settles. Gerwin Price is the complete opposite, and we'll talk about him shortly, where he knows he's going in on tops, and if it doesn't work, he's got a second dart. I think Razma is just one of those players that will just scatter everywhere, and when you're struggling for composure and you just need something to settle yourself down a little bit, that's not quite there for him.
Oh, completely. 100%.
In terms of his opponent, Ryan Searle, another disappointing performance on TV this year after such a promising 2021. Yet to really see him do damage this year, whether that be on the Pro Tour or on TV. Was last year a bit of an anomaly, or is the game still there for Ryan Searle?
I think the game's still there, but I think people's mentality changed because they don't go under the radar anymore. We've heard Johnny Clayton speak about this quite openly, that it's a different feeling going from the hunter to the hunted. And when Ryan Searle got to the Players' Championship final, there's an expectation into his game. people are then talking about him to go deep in tournaments. I just think it takes a little bit of adjusting that mindset.
Yeah. Yeah, completely agree. No clip for this one. We're going to move on to match number 2, and another one that could have been a lot better than what it actually turned out. As Andrew Gilding in the first set was on track to put in one of the performances of the opening round. He looked unbelievably composed. Everything came off for him. Was banging in the maximums. We saw that thumbs up plenty of times. But Ross Smith absolutely pinches a leg in the second set, and it completely turns the match on its head. And Gilding loses 16, 17 points off his average after that.
Look, Andrew Gilding is playing brilliantly. However, this is going back to when he was on tour the first time round as well. I believe right now there is a mental block on stage. It was the same at the match play. He was brilliant for 2/3 of the game. But again, that final third went missing. I think he's one of these that once he gets over the line once, he will be okay. But it's doing it that first time for him, which he's struggling to do at the moment.
Yeah, completely makes sense. I'm just going to throw back to a comment from Mr. Ward. He said, wouldn't say he's having a nightmare year, but drop standards admittedly did come from nowhere, more or less. He'll be fine. He has a fantastic temper, and I think that's about right. So, possibly. We just need to wait. The longer you're on one of these little slides, the more difficult it is to make that jump back to where you were. I think we've seen that with a lot of players, and we definitely will have spoken about that about Adrian Lewis, and we'll definitely speak about that when we look ahead to tonight as well, by the way. Ross Smith, great year last year, struggled at the start of 2021, perhaps not with the performance in this match, but in terms of results and performances since the halfway point of this year, it's starting to look like he did last year.
Yeah, there are distinct spells and signs from Ross Smith that he's getting back towards the player that we know is in there. He openly spoke about making lifestyle changes, which is very positive to hear. And look, he's not the only one that is going to have to make these changes. He's identified it early, and there are others that are going to have to follow suit if they want to hit the high standards, because we've spoken about being busy this year. When you look at the schedule for next year, you are going to have to be fit physically and mentally. Forget whether you're good at darts or not. It's an endurance test.
Yeah, and I think the PDC could be a little bit thankful as Daniel's got to go. So thanks for tuning in this morning, buddy. I think the PDC might be a little bit thankful there was not live lounge on Monday night, because now I've actually had time to look into the calendar. There is one part of the schedule in particular that is mental. Completely calm.
We spoke about it yesterday, and yeah, it's a little nuts.
I was looking for a free weekend to see friends from home, stumbled across it, and was like, "Holy hell!" We're just going to run the ground. But look, as you said, Ross Smith has made lifestyle changes. He looks in great shape. Stamina looks a lot better. And now we get to see if he can produce the level that I think he can reach. Because I think if Ross Smith keeps going on the curve that he's on at the minute, there's a top 16 player in there somewhere.
100%. Completely agree.
And I appreciate not everybody can be top 16 because there is only 16 spots in there. But I think we're going to see a lot of changes to that in the next couple of years. On to a player who is inside the top 16 and made this job look very, very comfortable indeed, despite having a bit of a stinker on his starting doubles, one leg in particular, 12 darts to get in. Danny Noppert completes a 2-0 win over Gabriel Clemens. I don't think this was ever in danger, even with the way Danny Noppert started. I just don't think he was ever under any threat in this match.
No, I agree that I've been open and honest about this for a while. I've not been convinced about Clements on TV, and that hasn't changed.
Yeah, I've tried to give him the support of it and tried to say that the pressure appeared German and wanted to, but he's a player that just needs to get results on TV. In fact, I'd say that about the majority of the German players right now. They just need first-round results on TV. They need to get a foot into these tournaments. We'll talk about Martin Schindler in a little while. We've not seen Fabian
Schmutzler,
or who's the handball player?
Florian Hempel.
Florian Hempel. We've not seen a great deal of him this year after looking so good last year. I don't know if it's the pressure of being back home or if someone just needs that first round game to go their way and get their way into a tournament and see what they can do. But a superb performance from Danny Noppert, number 10 in the world, UK Open champion, and we don't have his clip right now, but if you do want to listen to his interview in full, stay on our YouTube channel once we're finished and go and check that out. But it's the first time I'm pretty sure that I've heard him mention that he has aspirations of playing in the Premier League. Now, anybody that watches us regularly knows my thoughts on coming out and saying that. But there aren't many that are putting their hand up any higher than Danny Noppert right now for one of those spots.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I know that we laugh and joke about it, and it is your pet hate. And when I sent you the headline last night, we got the stupid. But look, he has ultimately come out and said, look, I want one of those places. Will he get one? I don't know right now, but he's thrown his name into the mix.
Yeah, so look, the fact there are only 8 places means it's so much more difficult for him to go and get one, especially if the top 4 automatically get picked once again, because we know how much the PDC at that point value commercial assets over ability or achievement throughout the year in some of their selections. But look, he's certainly doing enough for me right now, and another major final this year or a couple of semi-finals and to add to that UK Open might just do enough to get Danny Noppert a shot at the travelling roadshow that is the Premier League. On to match number 4. I know you mentioned a standout tie being on late, but pre-draw, this one was definitely up there, and this is one of the niche parts about the Grand Prix only having 8 seeded players, because these two should not be meeting in the first round at all. Joe Cullen against Damon Hatter. Both finished with exactly the same average, which was a little bit weird to see. Both on the same amount of legs, I believe, as well. But this is set player. Joe Cullen makes the most of the timing of when he picks up those legs.
Yeah, look, it was an interesting game. I thought first set they were both scrappy, played okay but scrappy. Then Damon Hatter was sensational in set 2 to level it up. But then also Joe Cullen showed great resistance and great resilience in that final set when it mattered to play some brilliant stuff as well. So it was a real game that ebbed and flowed. It was a complete seesaw game. But ultimately, look, the rock star, I think, this year does it better than anyone. He finds a way to win games. Look, when he's at his brilliant best, he is unreal to watch. But he finds a way when he's not in that top gear. 2 years ago, there's no way he wins some of the games he wins this year. But he has added this to his game, which makes him a huge, huge danger in anything.
Yeah, I mean, I saw some statistic work a couple of weeks back. I think it might have been from Lendl FDI, who examined players losing with players winning with a lower average in their ability to do that. Joe Cullen's done that more than anybody else on tour this year. The player you normally associate that with is James Wade. I think he was 4th on that list. But Joe Cullen has just turned into this absolute demon in pinching games and nicking games. And when you consider Joe Cullen's early years on TV, let's be honest, until 2 years ago, he didn't have a win at the World Championship.
Yeah.
Because those results of those games were just going the opposite way. They were getting pinched from underneath him, sort of thing, or there was an issue in getting over that line. But now he has got over that line. Joe Cullen is just so assured and so calm, which isn't something that 18 months ago you'd have ever associated with Joe Cullen. I don't think that's disrespectful to say. He did have a tendency to not be able to do that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And look, it's great to see that he's added that to his game.
Well, we've seen what it does to Rob Cross's game, because when you examine his major wins, I think he's been at the top of his game once. The others have all been won with his B game. Joe Cullen picked up a European tour the other week and said it was with his B game. And if you can win with your B game, you're in a lot better place than if you can't. So, yeah, most definitely. Throwback to Charles' comment as well. He's a major winner. He deserves to get in. Danny Knopper. No such thing as a major, mate. Come on, play the game. You've been doing it long enough. They're all TV titles.
And last year, when Rob Cross was left out, that cycle was broken.
Again.
Yeah, to be fair, but beforehand, Nico was left out because of the way the selection was done at the time, as in the timings of when they picked the Premier League back then. So a little bit different, but although granted, still a major winner. But last year, when they left Cross out, that cycle and that myth was then broken.
Yeah, 100%. And it'll be interesting to see which way they go this year because I despise the format. On to the first of 4 matches that involved our seeded players, and considering they were pretty much comfortable the night before, Jose de Sousa was the only man to fall to a fantastic Adrian Lewis. The Siege struggled on night 2. The Siege really struggled on night 2. First of all, Daryl Gurney beating Rob Cross, a superb performance from Super Chin. He just seems to have added that aggression back to his game, and that makes him far more dangerous.
Well, yeah, but the clip. Obviously, we've got a clip for this one. Is also very good because he talks about it how the PDC have priced angry Daryl out of the market.
They've only priced angry Daryl out of the market if he's not winning. They price first round exit loss angry Daryl out of the market because then you take such a large percentage of your winning. If you're winning majors, you can be angry Daryl because you're earning enough. Here you go, have an extra 5% towards your Christmas Christmas party at the DRA. I think is the logic about it, but there's still that there's that edginess to his game again right now, isn't there? There's that little bit more intensity. It's not quite the angry, aggressive Daryl that we saw a couple of years ago. I don't think he ever really crossed the line in anything, but I do think that a big turning point in players' approach to the game will have been the Gerwyn Price incident with Gary Anderson at the Grand Slam. And seeing size of the fine and everything that goes with it to try and stamp that out of the game just that little bit.
Yeah, agreed.
Rob Cross, before we do listen to the Daryl Gurney clip, first, the way he started the first set, ridiculously good, manages to find a way to lose it, wins the second set pretty comfortable, doesn't get anywhere near Daryl in the third. It's been a little bit of an up and down year for Rob Cross. We keep seeing that there are signs that he is returning to the player that just took the darting world by storm in his first 18 months as a tour card holder. We're saying that about a lot of players right now, though, and they all sort of need that break to go deep in the tournament, and they're all sort of not getting it because the field is so competitive right now.
It is, but also this wasn't a surprise for me, and I think I put it in one of the pieces I did for site yesterday, that Rob Cross's record in this tournament is horrific. He genuinely struggles to get his head around it. So this wasn't a huge surprise for me.
This was one of the most 50-50 games to call of the entire tournament, despite the fact Rob Cross is seeded and despite the fact that Daryl Gurney is currently ranked world number 25. I think there have been signs of improvement in performance for both of them as well. But when you throw in that record at this tournament, we're definitely going to talk records in a minute as well, by the way, in the next game. It is interesting to see. Right, let's hear then from Daryl Gurney. It is quite a long clip from him, but he does say plenty worthwhile things. So have a listen to Daryl in his post-match press conference with the Ginger Man right there.
Well, I mean, Matt tells me all the time, get nasty. And to be honest, I'm a dad now of a 4-year-old, and I mean, I keep on blaming the PDC for it, but I keep on saying that the PDC's killed Nasty Daryl, because I can't do it, be nasty anymore, because the fines are too expensive. And then at the same time, man, I've got a 4-year-old son, and I've lost my I've lost that way. But whenever Rob was giving off after the first set, and then I got angry. I got angry at myself because he was getting angry about my manager for some reason. I don't know what happened between them two. And then I thought, well, I mean, how many times he's beat me? I thought, I mean, he shouldn't be really giving off. I'm thinking I should be more angry at him. And then I kind of lit a fire inside me. But then it didn't matter because he destroyed me in the second set. But I'm trying to get the nastiness, the anger back. But it's really, really hard whenever there's fines coming your way and you've got a 4-year-old and you have to show him something more than anger. So yeah, it's hard work for me.
Touched on Rob getting annoyed there. Was that what the point was at the first break? Because we saw you point over to the the family area.
Yeah, no, there was something happened, but I knew something annoyed him, and then I was trying to figure out. Well, I haven't done nothing, so obviously it's coming from from my management. And I was like, I don't know what's going on, and then I thought to myself, well, the many times he's beat me, and now I'm in front, and now he's giving off. I thought, well, maybe he's looking for a sad story kind of thing, and I thought, nah, I'm not going to let him away with it. And then I was furious going into the break whenever it was a proper first set, and whatever happened. I mean, I left there now, and Matt and him's having words down in the smoking area, so I don't know what's going on, but it was nothing to do with me. Well, Matt's walked in there now, and his face isn't bruised, so it's all right.
In the what area, Daryl? In the what area? Let's move on swiftly from that one. Look, I don't know what happened. Really don't want to speculate. But as the night wore on, that crowd got thinner and thinner. And when you can distinguish sounds from the crowd, maybe Rob heard something.
Yeah, look, it's not a bad crowd either. That they've not been booing or jeering. They're genuinely cheering players on. But like you say, where it's so sparse, you can hear everything. So look, it's not the crowd's fault. Well, I know we've hammered crowds before, but this is them genuinely just cheering like they would normally, but it's being heard.
Well, not the crowd's fault in the main part. The final game of the night was definitely the crowd's fault because I can audibly tell you what the crowd said. It also happened in this next game as well on match darts, but it did not make a difference to Martin Lukeman, who does defeat James Wade. I did some stats digging yesterday, and I'm still absolutely staggered by this. James Wade has won this tournament twice before. He is renowned for being a clutch double hitter, yet in his last 8 appearances at the World Grand Prix, he has won just 2 matches. That's 6 first-round exits in 8 years now, 2 second-round exits. How? Why? How? Phil, how?
I don't get that. The first set, he was horrific yesterday. Absolutely horrific.
Stuart Pike was a little bit brutal in his assessment of the game at one point, but he did say, look, it's the second leg and he's averaging 34.
Yeah. It's just so un-James Wade-like because, like we say, tops and tens, Wadey's den, and that's what it is. But there is something just missing with this tournament, and it shouldn't be because he is superb on the outer ring. Look, I'm not sure his prep was the best. Like, he did an amazing charity event, but the timing of the event, maybe not the best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because surely you want your prep and all focus on the tournament. So yeah, look, it's an amazing thing he's done, but maybe just schedule it a little bit better.
Potentially, maybe just a couple of days early. Give yourself just a couple of days or a few hours on the dartboard. Martin Lukeman, however, Phil, his first ever win on TV. His year keeps getting better and better right now. A massive improvement on where he was this time last year as well. Takes out James Wade. Even when Wadey's fighting back, you're still looking at it going, well, Lukeman's the better player here right now.
Yeah, he's a character as well. The clip that we're going to play in a minute, he is a character. Look, he gambled everything, gave up work because he couldn't. He said he did the first year on tour trying to do both, and he said, look, you can't do this. Gave it all up, but this year he has been sensational. And the interesting bit that he used James Wade's winning interview from the match play as motivation.
Yeah, well, if you're going to tease it like that, Phil, I ain't got a choice but to play it now. Let's hear from Martin Lukeman.
I didn't take much from the match play, to be fair. The European tours this year has done me the world of good. And it's just kicking me on now. Now these stages are the same. Different colours, different sponsors. It doesn't matter. It's a stage now. What, last year? What did I have? 9 grand? 9.5 grand? I was fighting for my tour card at the beginning of the year. And yeah, of course it is. I put the work in. I don't want to go back to building sites and that. I don't want to be getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, getting home at 5 in the afternoon. No, I want to do this. It's a good job. I enjoy it. I love darts. I'm up for a battle. I'm going to get in the little nitty gritty things. But yeah, I'm up. I'm game on. Let's have it. I don't know. I can win some of these. I know I can. And you know, you win one, then it goes to 2, 3, and you just get your confidence to keep going on. I've been world-class players this year. Top 10, I probably had 5 of them this year in all different competitions. You know I can do it. Yeah, after his interview, yeah, you know, I bigged them up. But look, I'm not going to get in tit-tat. I'm not going to do this for you lot. But yeah, it was great revenge. Yeah, 100%.
One, he was absolutely itching to do that with you. We all absolutely know it. There's definitely somebody behind him going, don't you dare, because I know what you're like when you get started. And 2, he's gone from 1 win on TV to he's just won 3 majors, according to himself.
I love him to bits. I love his confidence. I love him as a character. And yeah, he said off camera before he went in there, his wife was like, don't say anything stupid.
Behind every good man is a strong woman. Matt Gaboo gets that. Oi, Matt, drop him a message like, oi, you've got to give us something next time, because if he goes off on one, I reckon that'll be absolutely hilarious. Philip says it's not always pretty from Lukeman, but he's just continuing to win games at the minute. That's what it's about. You ain't got to look pretty. Stoke were one of the better football teams in the world at one point. Maybe not that far, but they certainly could give everybody a go. Peter Crouch was quoted the other day saying that in their prime at the Britannia, Stoke could have beaten Barcelona. And do you know what, Phil? I actually agree with him. If the conditions are right, Stoke would have turned that Barcelona side over. Martin Lukeman is the Stoke of Peter Crouch era. That's where we're going with it. He's turning people over.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, penultimate game of the night, and we've seen this one, what feels like every single major this year, or TV tournament, shall we say. Gerwyn Price against Martin Schindler. Once again, I don't think Schindler's done an awful lot wrong, but Gerwyn Price just had too much for him.
Yeah, look, we've said it before, and we'll say it again. There are danger signs for everyone else that Gezi is getting back to that imperious best that won him the world title. And look, I think he's more of a danger here because he has set plans on what he's doing. There's no panic, like we spoke about Manas Razma when he's firing around the board, just hoping for a double. With Gezi, there are clear plans and clear intentions. It's tops 10s and 12s, and he's not deviating from that at all. And the fact that he's one of the best tops 10s and 12s hitters in the world anyway gives him a huge chance. And the scoring phase of his game yesterday was unreal. Yes, he mucked around on the finishing doubles, but that scoring phase was sensational.
Yeah, there is something to be said about the fact that he's doing very little travelling around the board. He knows exactly where he wants to be, start, finish, end, finish, and he does an awful lot to make sure that he stays in those segments as well. We've started to see him use double 16 and double 8 just that little bit more at the minute under absolute pressure, but not the best. I mean, I have just said that Martin Schindler has done an awful lot wrong in this. He was 1 from 13 on the outer ring to finish. I thought other than that, he kept pace as well as he could. But again, much like Gabriel Clemens, he's just, you're waiting for that big performance on TV from him, aren't you? And to sustain it as well, not just the one-off against Price that we saw at the Grand Slam, for instance, in the group stage in a race to 4. He needs to do it over a longer distance, over a quality player.
Yeah, and look, Philip said about his tactics on tops all the time yesterday. Look, I didn't get it because, like you say, it wasn't working. But he didn't have a clear plan B.
Correct. An interesting tweet I've just seen from Nathan Aspinall, by the way. We're certainly going to talk about that in a couple of moments. Let's listen to Gezi, then we'll hear from Nathan, and we'll talk about that one, and then we'll discuss the tweet he just put up as well. So here is Going Price in his post-match press conference.
Yeah, but he hasn't though. Wait until this tournament's over, and Peter's been absolute rubbish this year. I mean, I'm not chasing the world number one. If he wants it, he can have it, but I'm sure over the next couple of months I'll get it back. But yeah, I think Peter knows he's number 3 in the world, and yeah, Michael's in number 2 and I'm number 1, but talk is cheap.
I'm a big fan.
Look, even if the top 3 are playing crap darts, the fact they've all decided to wake up and choose violence again right now is very, very good. And it's very, very good for us to sit here and talk about it. You know my thoughts about keep your mouth shut until you've done something, and these boys are all going off after round 1. At least wait until you're in the tournament or about to play each other and then have the chance to back it up, because nothing would be more embarrassing than being one of the top 3 players in the world and falling before you even get a chance to play against each other, because that's what we want to see now. There is a chance that if these guys keep running into each other at the back end of tournaments, this war of words, this mind game arena starts to go to an even higher level, Phil Taylor-esque, when he was just tearing through people. And you've got the Gary MVG era, 17-18, when there was that discussion about who is the best player in the world, and is it Gary Anderson because he keeps getting the better of Michael, but he doesn't play Euro tours and is a bit more selective, so he's not doing the full calendar. I think all 3 are that selective at the minute. They're just going to keep changing hands and firing off against each other.
Oh yeah, look, it was shot as soon as Peter did his little one the day before. It was always going to be shots fired, because whether they admit it or not, or whether they listen to it, they get told what other players are what's being said. Is the thing. Gezi knew every word that Peter had said.
Maybe he's just a really big fan of the channel, Phil. Don't put us down like that. Final game of the session. I was going to say night, but it started in the night and finished in the morning, which feels like a good time to tell you what Nathan Aspinall has just tweeted. Happy to get the win last night against a great lad and dart player in Smithy. Both were nowhere near our best, but it's never ideal walking out just before midnight on a Tuesday. Lol. Day's rest today, then we go again against Norfolk on Thursday. Fair point. Well said.
Yeah. Completely. Look, he didn't hide from it either when he was asked about it. He was like, yeah, no, it's not ideal. It's the thing, and I'm not sure it's right for the crowd as well. That on a school night, people are paid their hard-earned money, and they have to work the next day, and it's just like, the scheduling just needs to be better. I know we spoke about it earlier. It's your main event of the night, and arguably the round. People may say Dirk and Johnny, but it was certainly in the top 2. Going on that late does not make sense, because there will not be eyes on the product. And especially the Europeans as well. They're an hour in front of us. They certainly would have been in bed.
Well, that was part of the consideration as to why we've moved, and we're now discussing this at 9:10 in the morning rather than at the close of play last night. Look, we love to market this show as the instant post-match reaction show and the only one that exists, but it made absolutely no sense for us to sit there and talk to it unless we were suddenly going to get an influx of friends from across the pond watching, and I don't think that would have covered enough to warrant doing it. I hope there's enough of you sitting watching at the minute on your way to work or whatever. But yeah, look, we discussed schedule at the start of this tournament. It makes absolutely no sense. But what it did do was highlight the fact that there was a couple of little, for want of a better word, and it's definitely not past the watershed, dickheads in the crowd last night. Audibly, you can hear what they're shouting. Through the TV. Like, I just don't get it. There was definitely a shout on Lukeman's 98 when he hits the first treble 20, saying USH something. I'm not going to swear anymore. That was definitely audible. And then there was 100% multiple shouts towards Nathan Aspinall as he's going, with the opportunity to wrap up the second set and win this match 2-0 and get everybody home 10 minutes earlier. But they're absolute idiots because they started chanting England, England, England in support of Michael Smith when Nathan Aspinall is also English. Excellent work, people. Keep up the good job.
Yeah.
In terms of the match, though, look, given what I've just said, I don't think it would be harsh to say that Marcus Smith was fortunate to get a set. He started very, very slowly, struggled to get in as efficiently as Nathan Aspinall did. And even when the pressure came from the crowd, even when Aspinall did miss those darts to win set 2, I didn't see another winner in this.
No, I'm with you. Look, Aspinall was sensational from start to finish and thoroughly deserved the win. He was the better player. That there's no question, and it was only his mistakes that allowed Michael Smith into the game.
100%. But it was Nathan Aspinall that gets over the line. Let's hear from the Asp, and then we'll give you our predictions. Just scores, no messing around, Phil. We're not going into detail, by the way. I warned Liam of this the other day. Just numbers for our predictions, so we can get you guys back to work or whatever it is you're doing, and also be off in time, ready for the Smodus Super Series to start on our channel as well. But this one is Nathan Aspinall.
And obviously with my wrist, I thought my career was over, and that was it. I was going back, working tax bills out for people. But, that's how I felt. I thought my career was over, but I've had this lifeline and I feel rejuvenated. I've got the hunger back. I feel like I felt 2018 when I just won my tour card. I want to prove to everyone that I can be good. And, I think the results are, speaking volumes. I've won 2 Pro Tours. God knows how many semi-finals in European Tours. Can't go over that line. But now I've got that hunger back. I'm practicing. Like, now I can actually practice for more than an hour because my wrist is, probably, nearly back to full. I can do 3-4 hours a day practice, which is what I'm about. And yeah, Nathan's not far off being his best. And listen, I've got a holiday booked in January the 9th, but I want to cancel that holiday because I want to go Bahrain. So that's where my head's at.
I mean, you'd like that one, Gob?
Do I? If I speak, I think let's just Jose Mourinho that moment and move on. A quick discussion about this. Do we know if there'll be more fans in attendance today? Don't know the exact numbers. I know I was told on Monday night show that they will get better throughout the week. Whether or not that happens today because of the rail strikes is yet to be seen.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is pretty much sold out, I believe.
So it's just tonight we've got to be that little bit weary with. I know there's issues with the train because I will be there Thursday night. Which, by the way, the last train back, adding to the discussion about the crowds, was midnight for someone like me who lives beyond Leicester. So maybe that was something to take into account earlier in the week. Right, 4 games tonight. This is such a weird way of doing this. Normally it's 4 games tomorrow. What are we looking forward? 4 games this evening, Philip, to look forward to. Starting with a very interesting clash between Adrian Lewis and Chris Doby. Score prediction, please.
First to 3 now, isn't it? I'm just checking. I haven't looked at the...
I think so too. I was waiting for you to tell me the number to confirm what the format is.
2 seconds.
It's not me this on the BDC. I'm pretty sure it's first to 3. Pretty sure it's first to 3.
2 seconds. It's thrown me in the morning. Literally, I've literally got out of bed and sat on my laptop.
Chat room, first to three in it. Bueller. Oh my God! It's a morning B reel as well. This is going to be a first. We're going to do a Fallout bar.
Yeah, first to three. Right. So Adrian Lewis, Chris Doby. I'm going 3-2. Chris Doby.
We're going all the way, and you just knocked out Jackpot. Ooh! I mean, they're both excellent in the first round.
Yeah.
I'm going to be different to you because you're always very wrong. So I'm going to say Adrian Lewis wins this one 3-1. Game number 2, we have the reigning world champion and the number 1 in waiting, shall we say, as long as he reaches at least the final. Gerwin Price would have to win the tournament and still not do enough to return to world number 1 at the end of this week. Peter Wright against Christopher Tysky.
3-0 Wright.
3-1 to Peter Wright. Michael Van Gerwen against Stephen Bunting. Do I need to ask you?
3-1 MVG.
Ooh, shock.
Ooh, friends.
I'm going to chuck an upset in there. Bunting wins 3-1. And Johnny Clayton against Dimitri Vandenberg to close out the night with a start time of 10 p.m, which should mean we're done just before 11.
Because of it's on last, Johnny Clayton 3-1.
Some practice.
I practiced.
Some practice. I'm going to go Clayton as well. I was quite impressed with the first round. Dimmy's got that slight moderation in his equipment. Said in his interview he's comfortable with them, but they do that little bit chunkier, which takes some time to adjust into. So I'm going to say the same scoreline as well. Johnny Clayton beats Dimitri Vandenberg 3-1. So you know what that means, everybody at home. Put your house on Dimitri.
Dimitri wins.
Big thanks to everybody that's joined us this morning for the show, and to Phil for joining us, no doubt in his pajamas from his hotel room in Leicester. Hopefully you have a great day once again. Go and get us some more content, and I will see you maybe tomorrow afternoon, definitely tomorrow evening. We'll discuss lunch at another point.
Yeah.
The boss man, get it on that company card, you know. Big thanks to everyone that's joined us in the chat room. If you do want more darts, don't forget the Modus Super Series goes live very, very shortly on this channel. Paul Nicholson in the booth, I believe, with Chris Murphy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Henry's got some time off now. Live from 7 o'clock on Sky this evening once again. If you do want to listen to any of the player interviews in full, they're on our YouTube channel right now. And don't forget to jump over onto our socials to keep up with everything throughout the day. We'll have some more previews for you on there, some recommended bets if you do like a flutter, but do remember to gamble responsibly with our partners and friends at BoyleSports. Big thank you to everybody for watching. We'll be back with a Fallout bar at the close of play this evening. Promise you we will not be moving it to the morning once again, and we'll speak to you very, very soon. Cheers.